Hey y'all, welcome to the channel. Today we're checking out top 10 biggest PR disasters in British politics. Queen's a smiling, not for long. What'd she do?
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 PR disasters in British politics.
We agreed that we should go for a short drive to see if I could drive safely.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Y'all, I don't really follow British politics much at all. Actually, not at all. I don't follow it. I know there's an election this year, or coming up, July 4th. Pretty fascinating how the Prime Minister can just say, we're having elections now. Crazy to me. Anyway, let's check out some of these disasters.
For this list, we're looking at the funniest, most ridiculous scandals to ever reach Westminster.
Good.
Let us know in the comments
Let's keep it
which
light.
one you won't be forgetting anytime soon.
Nothing too serious. Oh, geez.
Number 10, the Mound.
It's a really important initiative to encourage people to come back into the centre of London.
In the summer of 2021, Westminster Council unveiled a truly atrocious tourist attraction to try and bring more people to London. That's in spite of the fact that London already had plenty of actual good things for people to see that aren't an artificial pile of mud. The Mound, which is shockingly its real name, was met with resounding disappointment, not only because it's an eyesore, because at the beginning the council planned to charge people £6.50 for the privilege of climbing to the top of it. Even worse, the thing cost around £6 million to build. A figure that the council sheepishly keeps increasing.
Something new, something interesting that people hadn't been able to do before, and this really fits the bill.
It's now London's biggest embarrassment.
The Mound. Is it a mound of dirt? Is it a repurposed landfill? £6 to climb up to the top? The Marble Arch Mound, or Marble Arch Hill, was a temporary 25-meter, 82 feet, artificial hill located next to Marble Arch in London. It has a viewing platform on the summit and an event space inside. Oh! The hill opened to the public July 26, 2021, with a charge, but shortly afterwards it was briefly closed after complaints from the first visitors. It reopened in August without an entrance fee. Oh, that's good. So, good. It remained open to the public until January 2022 and was dismantled. Yeah, that just seems like a bad idea. The project was commissioned by Westminster City Council, hoping to boost domestic tourism to help speed up the return of shoppers to Oxford Street after COVID. I mean, I guess it was probably pretty quick to build, just a bunch of dirt and some steps, so maybe that's why. The hill was announced as part of a £150 million development initiative. Some visitors complained that the hill did not match the marketing photos, with one visitor describing it as the worst thing I've ever done in London, and commenting that it is not possible to view the park from the hill due to trees in the way, but it was possible to view a rubble pile. Nice. Yeah, this looks pretty lame. It says there was an event area inside, but I'm not seeing any photos or anything of that. I'd be curious to see. I mean, no windows in the place, so probably pretty confined feeling, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, moving on.
Number 9, Fields of Wheat.
What's the naughtiest thing you ever did?
Oh, goodness me.
Of all the things Theresa May did and said at the height of her political career, this will be the thing that follows her for the rest of her life.
Uh-oh.
During a routine interview in the run-up to the 2017 snap election, May was asked what the naughtiest thing she's ever done was, to which she replied that it was running through fields of wheat as a child.
I have to confess, when me and my friends sort of used to run through the fields of wheat, the farmers weren't too pleased about that.
Fields of Wheat quickly became a meme, with people across the political spectrum full of second-hand embarrassments for the Prime Minister. Some years later, May revealed that of all the mistakes in her career, she believed the Fields of Wheat incident was the biggest. It's gonna haunt her forever.
Did you have any urge to jump out the car and run through any fields of wheat on the way here?
I'm far too responsible a citizen to run through a wheat field.
Number
Fields of wheat. Oh my god. If that's not a politician answer, I don't know what is. Like she's hiding something. Maybe she was using it as a metaphor. Running through fields of wheat. Oh look. Oh gosh. At a speech, Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn joked that running through fields of wheat was terrible behavior. Ellie Hunt of The Guardian said, one has to imagine even the most bookish of children is capable of more noteworthy wrongdoings than causing fleeting irritation to local agriculturalists. But even if the transient displacement of grain was the pinnacle of May's youthful misbehavior, her response failed the test implied of the question. Yeah, Media Mole of the New Statesman argued that May had been much naughtier in her political career. Yeah. I love that everyone saw through the BS right away and just made it like, what, lady? Come on. That was great. I love that.
Wait on the way here.
I'm far too responsible a citizen to run through a wheat field.
Number 8, the Prescott Punch.
Uh-oh.
Labour's Deputy Prime Minister was out campaigning in real Wales back in 2001 when a dissatisfied member of the electorate decided to lob a few eggs at him. Though getting public abuse is a standard part of being a politician in the UK, maybe it was a bad day because Prescott retaliated by punching the egger in the face with a nasty left hook.
Other camera angles make it clear exactly what happened.
Smack.
He definitely should have thought twice before egging a former boxer, and clearly didn't bargain on Prescott, giving as good as he got. Prescott then became one of the few politicians whose career was able to recover after decking a member of the public, and has since been photographed wearing boxing gloves and holding a cream egg.
In America, that would make his poll numbers go up. People would love that. People would love a politician who stands up for himself and beats the crap out of other people. Bullies. Yeah. So this guy hits him in the face with an egg, and he punches the guy back. That's definitely an overreaction, but at the same time, I don't know, I guess I kind of understand. Is throwing an egg considered the A word? Egging can be considered an act of vandalism in most areas, including California. Is it legal to throw eggs at people in a protest? That's a good question. Yeah, throwing objects opens you to be charged with the A word. That's what I'm thinking. I would love to throw an egg at some politician, but I'm not going to.
It's been photographed wearing boxing gloves and holding a cream egg. Number 7, socially divisive. A constitutional monarch, the Queen isn't allowed to get involved in politics. She's not supposed to express opinions on the officials the public elects or their policies. But in 1986, some comments from the Queen were leaked to the press that appeared to show her disappointments with many of Margaret Thatcher's policies, still PM at the time. Today, people will be most familiar with this rift because it was depicted in The Crown Series 4.
Always a mistake to assume just because people are privileged, they lack grit.
It's not clear whether the Queen actually did say those things, but they were still widely reported and caused conflict between Buckingham Palace and Downing Street, all because the Queen may have said the same thing everybody else was saying.
My respect for Queen Elizabeth II has just gone way up. I like that. Speak your mind. I wish she did more of that, you know? Good for you, Elizabeth. Queen, or good for you. She watches my channel. She's a subscriber.
Number 6, Geronimo the alpaca.
I cannot consent to have a healthy animal euthanized.
The saga of Geronimo the alpaca reached a sad end in 2020 when the debate around whether Geronimo should be euthanized or not returned to the public eye once again. The issue is that Geronimo was likely infected with bovine tuberculosis, which could have spread to humans. But what prompted this renewed interest in Geronimo, we hear you ask?
You're not taking him off this farm.
Well, leader of the opposition, Keir Starmer, decided to make his thoughts on Geronimo public, saying that putting Geronimo down was the best course of action. Managing TB outbreaks is obviously important, but Starmer spent the following weeks plagued by angry members of the public who wanted him to speak out in support of the doomed animal.
She printed a t-shirt.
Disgusted by this government.
Gosh, I could see both sides of this one. Keir Starmer, he's running for prime minister, right? Yeah. I hate the idea of just killing animals, but could kill people. Says a disease. Just think back to 2020 or 2019. If someone could have killed that bat, different world we'd be living in right now. Sorry, Geronimo. You gotta go. That's sad, though. That is a terrifying animal. That looks like the devil. Cool haircut, though. Piercing eyes. Kind of sexy. Tuberculosis. Yeah, without treatment, it can be fatal. The symptoms are cough, fever, night sweats, and weight loss. Oh, not a bad thing. Couldn't they just keep Geronimo secluded from people somehow? Do not consume unpasteurized dairy products. Darn. Oh, that's why we pasteurize our milk in America. Yeah, I'm on the side of killing the animal. I don't know. Can't they just, if it's such a big deal, can't they just give Geronimo to this lady with the t-shirt and let her take Geronimo home and get tuberculosis, right? Let her deal with it.
Number 5, go home vans. Another inscrutable political decision from Theresa May. In 2013, she was the Home Secretary when David Cameron was still PM.
It's been described as gimmicky, divisive, disastrous, cheap, and a return to the 70s politics of the National Front.
One of her most ridiculous endeavours was the infamous go home vans, as they came to be known. May sent large vans ordering illegal immigrants to go home or face arrest around areas of the UK with high immigrant populations, apparently trying to scare them into getting themselves deported.
I think politicians should be willing to step up to the plate and say when they think something actually hasn't been as good an idea, and I think they were too blunt an instrument.
The vans were a political disaster for the Tories, sending a very unpleasant message to the UK's many immigrants. To make matters worse, 6 years later, the Tories determined that telling someone to go home was a hate crime, making themselves look like massive hypocrites and ridiculous all over again.
Will the Prime Minister now, on reflection, also take the opportunity to call out and condemn the racism of the go-home vans that she created in coalition government with the Liberal Democrats?
Those vans had nothing in them, only the sign on the back. That's all the van is doing, is driving around to show people this billboard. There's a phone number to text. Can I text that number? I'm going to text that number and see what happens. 78070. And I'm texting home. Error. Invalid number. Please resend using a valid 10-digit mobile number or a valid shortcode. Oh well. I tried to get deported, y'all. It didn't work. This is another thing that if this was done in the United States, it would be very polarizing. I think most people would find it disgusting, but some people, about 30% of people, they would love this. They would see it as a sign of strength. I wouldn't be surprised if the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, would do something like this.
Number 4, Ed Miliband sandwich. Politicians love a good photo op, but a bad photo can follow you forever. Ed Miliband found this out the hard way when he was snapped eating a bacon sandwich in 2014. They happened to catch him making a particularly funny face while he ate.
Open wide, Ed!
I think this is good PR
poor
for him,
guy.
because although they actually say that people who eat messily are very good lovers.
Though anybody could have an equally embarrassing photo taken while you're tucking into a delicious bacon sarnie, Miliband has never been able to live it down. The meme followed Miliband for months while he campaigned for the 2015 general election, which he ultimately lost to David Cameron by some margin. He's repeatedly stated that he doesn't blame the sandwich, but many of his critics certainly did.
Poor guy. That's unfortunate. Let's look him up. Should I feel sorry for him or not? Miliband sandwich. Oh, that's not the only photo of him looking crazy. Look at this one. Dude, I mean, he looks like two different actors. He looks like Tim Curry and or Stephen Mangan, doesn't he? In the bacon sandwich photo, he does. I don't need you to confirm that for me. That's who he looks like to me. Tim Curry and Stephen Mangan. I already forgot his name. He looks like those guys.
Number 3, Barnard Castle.
We agreed that we should go for a short drive to see if I could drive safely.
By now, we all know that if you're in the UK and need an eye test in a pinch, you'd better head north and visit Barnard Castle, one of County Durham's premier tourist attractions. That's because in 2020, Chief Political Advisor Dominic Cummings took his family all the way up to Durham in a clear violation of lockdown rules. It was one rule for politicians and another for everybody else, something the public did not take kindly to.
No.
Cummings alleged that he went to Barnard Castle not for a recreational day out, but for an eye test, driving his kids there while wearing glasses that were the wrong prescription. A very safe thing to do. Ultimately, Cummings was forced to resign.
Dominic's eyesight was good enough. That was the whole point of the journey, to determine that he could drive safely.
What an idiot. There are a lot of politicians that went walking around during COVID. I think the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, did it. I think Nancy Pelosi got a haircut. Y'all, I went to the dentist during COVID. I had a dentist appointment booked for like 6 months before that, and it was coming up, and I called the dentist and I said, hey, I shouldn't come, right? Because of the lockdown. It's only essential stuff, and I just needed a cleaning. And the dentist said, no, it's essential. I think either my teeth were extremely dirty, I doubt that, or they just needed the money. I think that's what it was. When the lockdown first started in March of 2020, I was fine with it for about 6 weeks, and then I started to go crazy.
Number 2, bigoted woman. In 2010, Gordon Brown was the Prime Minister standing for election against leader of the opposition, David Cameron, who of course won.
How are you going to get us out of all this debt, Gordon?
Though Brown didn't poll particularly high during his tenure after Blair left, there was one specific incident that may have sealed his fate as the election's loser.
That was a disaster.
After talking to a disillusioned Labour voter, Gillian Duffy, Brown got back into his car and called her a bigoted woman, not realising his microphone was still on.
Everything. She's just a sort of bigoted woman that said she used to be Labour. I mean, it's ridiculous.
The resulting scandal was nicknamed Bigotgate, with Brown forced to apologise to Duffy for his remarks. The incident has plagued Gordon Brown throughout the rest of his career.
What did she say that was so bigoted? Or did he just call her bigoted just to hurt her? Yeah, okay, so I just read their entire conversation, a transcript of it, and I didn't see anything that she said that could be considered bigoted. She mentioned immigrants, but it's not like she hates immigrants or whatever. What does bigoted mean exactly? Having strong, unreasonable beliefs and disliking other people who have different beliefs or a different way of life. I didn't get that from her at all. She was asking him about her pension. Her husband died, and there's like a pension thing, and her taxes, she's being taxed on her husband's pension or something like that. She's not bigoted. She's just giving him some pushback, and he doesn't like that. Gordon.
Number 1, Piggate. Who knew that an unauthorized biography with absolutely no sources would cause so much fuss? Nobody, it seems, because hashtag Piggate took the UK by storm.
This is reminding me of a Black Mirror episode, the very first episode. Does that have anything to do with this?
Nobody, it seems, because hashtag Piggate took the UK by storm when it emerged in 2015. An anecdote was published in the book Call Me Dave, claiming that when Cameron was a youth, he went through a dining society invitation rite involving a certain part of his anatomy and a dead pig. And that's all the detail we can go into.
And even that he took part in a bizarre initiation ceremony for a dining club involving a pig.
It was in the news for weeks.
For a dining club?
Not in the least, because 4 years earlier, Charlie Brooker wrote an infamous episode of Black Mirror that sees the Prime Minister have relations with a pig. Except Cameron didn't have the excuse of saving a princess. Do you agree with our pick?
Wow. Yeah, in Black Mirror, he was doing it to save a princess, right? But in real life, he just did it to join a dinner club. David, that must be some damn good pork ribs, right? Holy crap. Why? The weird thing, too, is that if it's an initiation ritual, he's probably not the only person who had to do that. So there's a dinner club out there that in order to join, you have to get friendly with a pig? David Cameron's Dinner Club. Oh. Oxford University. Becoming more clear. This is a college thing. Yeah. Why didn't he write that in his book? Piers Gaveston Society. The men-only club, named after the alleged male lover of Edward II, King of England, was founded in 1977 and carries the motto, "Truly, none remember hearing of a man enjoying another so much." Okay. For its summer ball, members each invite 20 guests, preferably more women than men, who were last year given 72 hours notice when they were told to turn up for a hired coach that would drive them to an undisclosed destination in the countryside. Cross-dressing is as likely to feature as speed-laced jelly. Speed-laced jelly? The rules are simple. There are none. Journalist Danny Kemp went to the Piers Gaveston Ball in summer 1995. He said, "I guess the first thing to say is that it really wasn't very debauched. I was invited by a friend for a friend who was in the Piers Gaveston Society. The most obvious thing is that it is meant to be raunchy fancy dress. This means a lot of people going in drag, others in what back then looked like bondage-type gear. Invitees were told to gather at a central Oxford location where a coach picked everyone up. There were no pig's heads when he went. The whole thing really seemed like not terribly debauched public school boys' idea of debauchery." Well, David Cameron, I'm surprised you thought it would be a good idea to put that in your book. Disgusting. I don't like to think about it. Net thoughts in my head. Well, this ended on a disgusting note. Well, thank you all for watching this with me. Can't stop thinking about it. Pretty gross, David. David, what are you doing? David. I went to college. I never did that. Wow. Okay. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else I can say on a YouTube video about that. Anyway, well, thank y'all for watching this with me, and I'll see you next time. Later.